Hello everyone, welcome to This Day. It is Friday, June 6th. I'm Michael Taylor, glad to be here with you. I won't be actually here next Friday, by the way. I'll be on vacation next week, so Bree Cox-Kennedy will be in here covering for me. So happy Friday to you as I get ready to go off to Europe. Woohoo! It'll be fun. I'll bring back pictures. Maybe I'll even have something for the sunrise sunset segment. Maybe a couple pictures from Europe for you. All right, let's talk about what's on today's show instead of my vacation plans. It's going to be a good one. We got Harvard Eye Associates, Dr. John Hovhannissian. He's going to be coming in talking about how climate change can actually impact the chances of us getting cataracts. It's a very interesting conversation. You're going to want to stay tuned for that. And then Sports Corner, we got NHL playoffs, we got NBA playoffs, all sorts of good stuff for Cole to be talking about. That's going to be a little later in the program. Right now, though, we want to talk to you about Stay Informed for You. United's going to be having their town hall meeting. It's going to be on Friday, June 13th, next week, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's going to be over at the Performing Arts Center, Clubhouse 3. Make sure you get out there and talk to the board members there. It's an informal kind of meeting where you can talk to them about any issues you might have going on in the community. Great way for them to learn more from you and you to learn more about how the board works and operates. So get out there to the town hall they're going to have on next Friday, the June 13th. There you go. Let's take a check of our weather. We got the morning clouds that we had this morning, and then we're going to hopefully get into partly cloudy skies by this afternoon. 74 is going to be our high. And then look at Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We're going to have mostly sunny. AM clouds, we do have the June gloom going on, so we're going to have some clouds usually in the morning, but for the most part, going to be mostly sunny. Temperatures are going to be ticking up to very summer-like or late spring-like weather like we're in right now, which I love. I love that when the temperatures get up just to these kind of degrees. No 80s. I'm not an 80s fan, but the 70s, I can do that all day long. Let's talk about our sunrise sunset, and we got a beautiful shot here in Carmel, California. Thank you, Joel Goldstein, for sending this one in to us. Sunrise this morning was 5:40 a.m. Sunset tonight, getting closer to 8 o'clock, 7:59 p.m. is going to be our sunset. If you are on little travels around or just right here in town, pets, places, any kind of pictures, we love to use them on this segment. Make sure you email us, Laguna Woods Village TV @gmail.com. Make sure you include your name, just like Joel did, where you took the picture, just like Joel did, and we will use it on our sunrise sunset segment. Okay, we have a couple of meetings to tell you about. Then when we come back, we'll be talking to Dr. John Hovhannissian from Harvard Eye Associates. Stay with us.
For over 20 years, Orange County has taken its unwanted gold, jewelry, timepieces, sterling silver, and coins to the Jewelry Box estate buyers and always received top dollar. We are a full-service repair center, too, where you can rest assured our on-premises master jeweler will repair any jewelry in our state-of-the-art facility. Come see why for over 2 decades, Orange County has relied on the Jewelry Box estate buyers.
At the Jewelry Box Estate Buyers,
it's about trust.
Visit us online at jewelryboxestatebuyers.com.
Your eyes let you see the world, every smile, every sunset, every moment.
At Harvard Eye Associates, our team of specialists is here to protect your vision.
From cataracts and glaucoma to retina and cornea care, we offer the latest treatments with a compassionate touch.
For over 50 years, you've trusted us with your eyes. We're honored to care for them for years to come.
Harvard Eye Associates, the future of vision today.
And welcome back, and we want to welcome Dr. John Hovhannissian from Harvard Eye Associates. Thanks for joining us.
How are you, Michael? Nice to see you again.
Now, we're going to talk about eye health and climate change. It seems like you can blame everything on climate change, no matter what. But there's a study out there we want to talk about a little bit that actually has some direct connections, it looks like, to eye health and the fact that we're just in the sun so much more, the dryness, some of the pollution, those kinds of things. Let's talk about the study.
Yeah, so not everyone agrees about humans' role in contributing to climate change, but everybody agrees climate change is real, that temperatures are getting warmer. It's a factual thing, and it does have impact on health in a number of ways, and some direct and some indirect. Some of the indirect ways that climate change affects health is just, in some countries, it's difficult for people to work during the hottest summer days, right? Because outside it's just downright dangerous. you can't stay hydrated enough to keep your body cool.
Right.
But there are also other direct effects of this that are really meaningful, and particularly we'll talk about how it affects the eyes.
Right, and it affects the eyes. Like one of the ways that we're talking about in how it affects the eyes is, in terms of climate change, it's making the planet hotter, obviously, and heat stroke of the eye, which I'd never heard of. If you suffer a heat stroke, your eye has a defense mechanism against heat stroke as well, right?
Yeah, the reason that high fevers or high body temperature, which arises from heat stroke, is so bad is because literally the proteins in our body cook. They become denatured and all kinds of things happen. So a temperature of 104 in the body can occur in heat stroke quite easily. So heat stroke is a condition where the body heat rises. Often it's summertime dehydrated conditions, so you're not sweating enough to cool the body. And the body's compensating mechanisms to cool itself down fail. And the temperature kind of rises out of control, and it's a deadly condition. And within minutes, it can irreversibly damage the brain and other parts of the body. But one of the areas that's most sensitive are the proteins in the lens inside the eye.
Right. And so this is really impacts people who have to work in the heat, roofers or farm workers and things like that, that they don't have a lot of choice of just go ahead and go inside and turn the air conditioning on.
Right, yeah, exactly. If you can't escape the heat, if you can't cool down the body, some of these things are going to happen before you lose consciousness, before some of the life-threatening events. Just a rise in temperature in the lens of the eye will cause denaturing of proteins that are responsible for the clarity of the lens. So, the lens of the eye is an amazing structure because it's made out of the same type of proteins as the rest of our body, but it's transparent. And it has this ability to flex and focus when we're young that allows us to see the world well. But any disruption in the chemical nature of those proteins causes them to lose their clarity, and therefore we lose our vision.
Now, in these crystalline proteins, I think they're called, can they repair themselves, or is it kind of there's an attrition rate or something?
Yeah, they can't. They cannot repair themselves. So the body can create new proteins, but it doesn't replace the old. The lens of the eye is a little bit like a tree, that it grows throughout our life with little, added layers to it. But there's not a good way for the lens to repair itself. So this is irreversible change to vision. It may be gradual, it may not happen all at once, but when heat-related injury to the lens occurs, it's real and it's permanent.
And the result of the damage can it lead to cataracts? Is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So when the lens inside the eye becomes cloudy, we call that cataract, regardless of the reason for that. Usually it's related to birthdays, which is responsible for so many of our health problems. But here heat causes this clouding that leads to loss of vision. So this happens to people who are in the middle of their working years. And in so many countries where people don't have access to health care like we do here, I mean, here, if you get a cataract, you go get it taken care of.
Right.
But in those countries, if you don't have access, you're blind. And one thing we've learned from our volunteer work in Armenia is when someone's blind in a family, it really takes two other family members to take care of them.
Right, and it also takes that pay, that income off the table as well. So now they become a dependent instead of a provider.
And the other people taking care of them also are less able to work because of their duties taking care of a family member. So it really has a multiplying effect when blindness or visual impairment affects somebody in these developing countries. So this is why it's such a concern, because they don't have air conditioning everywhere. They don't have the mechanism to protect themselves from the heat.
And another factor that in this study that we talk about is increased UV radiation exposure in the eye itself, right? If we're more intense, more heat, and the air can, like in our Southern California climate, we get these hot, dry winds, and that can prevent the moisture in the eye from like absorbing some of the UV radiation, which I didn't realize the moisture in the eye absorbs that.
Well, and also, so dryness of the eyes is a big problem, right? We have that year round, but now increasingly it's happening in the summer. Another thing, when it's warmer, particularly if it's humid, is we get more mold growing in the environment. Mold is a primary driver of allergies, so we see a lot of ocular surface disease, ocular surface allergy, dryness, and just discomfort. And then finally, pterygium is a condition that is a growth on the surface of the eye that arises from UV exposure. And it's commonly seen in surfers. It's commonly seen in people who spend, you'll see gardeners and other people who spend a lot of time outside get this growth on usually the inner corner of the eye.
Yeah, now so when the like the liquid layer of the eye, our eye tears, our tears aren't as thick, what are some of the things that can get in there? What are some of the things that can increase our risk?
Yeah, so a healthy tear film is the first defense against all the stuff in the environment that irritates and can injure our eyes, right? It flushes, a healthy tear film flushes stuff away. It flushes allergy particles that cause allergies away. And so when that's deficient, we have less defense. And simply the delicate eye is now susceptible to injury or irritation from more stuff in the environment.
Okay, so for those of us who are in this kind of community and we are not out in the field, thankfully, working that kind of thing, what can we do in terms of just protecting ourselves from some of these things? Is it the usual stuff, hats, sunglasses, things like that?
Those are the primary defenses, yeah. Some glasses that fit well and fit close to the face will provide a nice barrier to not just wind, but also UV light if they're UV rated, and better quality sunglasses are all 100% UV filtering. A hat adds about 40% more protection from UV just by simply shading the eyes. And another good idea is to take some lubricant drops before you go outside. Artificial tear drops available at the pharmacy without a prescription. Really any brand is okay, whatever's comfortable for you to take. Provide a good sort of protective barrier, a little bit like sunscreen does for your skin, at least for a little while. And you can take more of it if you start to feel like your eyes are getting dry.
Now those lubricant drops, can people overuse those? Is there a danger there? And I'm using them all the time kind of thing? Or should it be under some guidance?
That's a great question. It's always good to have an eye doctor give you some guidance. But a good general rule you can follow is that if you are taking lubricant drops and you're taking them more than about 4 times a day, it's good to buy the preservative-free variety. So they sell a variety that's preservative-free. Some of them have those little tear-off packets. Some of them are in a larger bottle. They're usually a little more expensive because of it's a little more advanced chemistry in them, but they are less irritating to the eye because the preservatives that keep bacteria from growing in the bottles are one of the things that can irritate the eyes. Okay.
So cataracts is kind of a slow-moving disease of the eye, or a hindrance of the eye. What are the first signs people will notice if I'm looking like, man, something's going on with my vision and it might be cataracts? What would be the telltale signs?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the earliest signs people don't notice much, and cataracts start to develop easily in our 30s and 40s. Really one of the first signs or symptoms of having that maturing of the lens is when we lose our reading vision in our 40s. So many of us have to wear reading glasses to see up close. That's not cataract per se because there's not necessarily clouding, but it is this dysfunction in the lens because it's becoming harder. Later, we have more difficulty reading fine print even with glasses. Driving at night, one of the primary symptoms is glare and halos off of lights that causes us to have difficulty seeing well. Seeing things that are just kind of in the shadows, low contrast environments like driving at night are one of the first places we start to see the beginnings of disability that comes from cataract.
Okay, and those are some of the telltale signs. And if they are feeling that, if experiencing that, they go to you. What kind of things can you do for them in terms of maybe stemming the tide of this a little bit, or is it just one of those things that's just going to happen?
Well, so some of the things we talked about are helpful in preventing cataract from growing, as well as nutritional things, eating a good balanced diet, vitamin C, the basic vitamins, antioxidants, the omega-3s, all of those types of dietary I'm not going to say supplements, but inclusions. If you eat a salad every day, you're doing pretty well. If you're eating fish twice a week, you're getting about 95% of the nutrients that you could need. And a lot of people like to take a supplement just to get a little bit extra. Not smoking. This also, prevents the oxidative damage that happens in the body, causes aging, not just in the eyes, but in other organs too. So taking good care of yourself is a way you can push cataract off. But often it's genetic, and if your parents had it at a young age, you're going to probably have it at a young age.
Okay.
And so thankfully we have great treatment. So we can diagnose, we can adjust correction, whether it's glasses or contact lenses, and we can do cataract surgery when the time comes and you're really having some difficulty.
All right, Dr. John Hovannisian, keeping an eye on our health. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Good to see you again, as always.
Great to see you, Michael.
You're watching This Day. We'll be right back with Sports Corner.
For over 50 years, we've had the privilege of caring for our community's vision.
From routine eye exams to advanced eye care, we're here every step of the way.
Because clear vision means seeing life's most precious moments.
Thank you for trusting Harvard Eye Associates with your vision today and for many years to come.
Harvard Eye Associates, the future vision today.
O'Connor Mortuary has been healing hearts, inspiring trust, and comforting souls since 1898. As one of the oldest family-owned and operated mortuaries in California, we are proud to be a long-standing pillar in the community. Our unwavering commitment to providing support in a time of need is what sets us apart and allows us to build strong bonds with each family we serve. Thank you for choosing us for 125 years.
Happy Friday and welcome to the first Sports Corner episode of June. I'm Cole Young and as per usual, we have a ton to cover, so I'll jump right in. Starting in the NBA playoffs, the NBA Finals are finally here. I'll give a brief recap of how these two teams got to where they are today and some other information surrounding the finals. Starting in the Western Conference, the Oklahoma City Thunder ended the regular season with the best record in the NBA, going 68-14. In round one, the Thunder swept the Memphis Grizzlies with ease, winning 4 straight games and moving on to round 2. The second round is where the Thunder were tested the most, going back and forth in a physical battle with the Denver Nuggets that went all the way to Game 7, where the Thunder dropped a staggering 32-point victory to punch their ticket to the conference finals. The conference finals round with the Minnesota Timberwolves might not have shown it on the series record considering the Thunder won in 5 games, but they were all pretty closely contested matches. Plus, the Timberwolves beat OKC by 42 points at one point. In that Game 5 with Minnesota, the Thunder had control from the opening tip-off. NBA MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander dropped 34 points, and the Thunder breezed to a 124-94 win and secured their spot in the NBA Finals for the first time since 2012. The Thunder have never won an NBA title, although technically when they were the Seattle Supersonics, they won 1 title back in 1979, but to me that doesn't really count at this point. Coming into the series, the Thunder sat as pretty heavy favorites to win the title. However, you cannot count out their opponents, the Indiana Pacers. It might have been easy to overlook the Pacers at the start of the postseason, but after an exciting run as underdogs through the Eastern Conference, they won't be so easily dismissed anymore. The Pacers won 50 games and entered the playoffs as the number 4 seed and proved just how good they could be in the playoffs. They defeated their rivals, the Milwaukee Bucks, 4-1 in round 1. In the conference semifinals against a historic Cleveland Cavaliers team, they showed the world they are truly contenders. The Cavs entered the postseason with 64 wins, just behind the league-best OKC record. With buzzer beaters and incredible come-from-behind wins, the Pacers dominated the Cavaliers 4-1 and moved on to face the New York Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. The luck and grit on the Pacers roster continued in that round as they still pulled off miraculous comebacks and buzzer beater shots, outlasting the Knicks 4-2. The Indiana Pacers have not made it to the NBA Finals in 25 years, and just like the Thunder, they have never won a title. So, regardless of who emerges victorious in this finals series, a brand new champion will be crowned for the first time ever. Game 1 of this series was last night, and the Pacers are up 1-0 after securing the first win on the road. Game 2 will be back in Oklahoma City on Sunday at 5 p.m. on ABC, followed by Game 3 heading to Indiana on Wednesday at 5:30, also on ABC. Over in the NHL, the Stanley Cup Finals are officially underway as well. I mentioned it last week, but the rematch of last year's finals between the Florida Panthers and Edmonton Oilers is officially set. It will be the 12th time in NHL history that teams meet in the Cup Final in consecutive seasons, and the first time since Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins rebounded from a 6-game loss to the Detroit Red Wings in 2008 to defeat the Red Wings in 7 games in 2009. If you remember, last year, the Panthers quickly jumped out to a 3-0 lead, and on the precipice of winning their franchise's first ever cup, lost 3 straight games and the Oilers forced a Game 7. Florida eventually won the title in that Game 7. This year, Edmonton has home ice advantage for the first 2 games. Both of these teams are absolute powerhouses and have each eliminated championship caliber teams on their respective routes to the finals. The puck dropped in Game 1 on Wednesday, and it was a great start to this series. Leon Draisaitl and the Oilers opened up the scoring, taking a 1-0 lead just 1 minute into the first period. The Oilers' lead didn't really last that long, though, as Sam Bennett would deflect in a goal for Florida to tie it at 1-1 9 minutes later. Less than 2 minutes later, Brad Marchand gave the Panthers a 2-1 lead on an assist from Nate Schmidt, and the Panthers were absolutely rolling. That goal set a new record for the most road goals in a single postseason in NHL history, as the Panthers had scored 50 road goals in the 2025 postseason, surpassing the Kings' total of 49 in the 1993 postseason. The scoring didn't stop there, though, as Sam Bennett would put in his second goal of the day in the second period, extending the Panthers' lead to 3-1. Things were beginning to look pretty bleak for Edmonton, but just a few minutes later, Victor Arvidsson would give the Oilers some life with a slapshot goal to cut the lead down to 1. In the do-or-die third period, Mattias Ekholm hit the equalizer for the Oilers on an assist from Connor McDavid, and this Stanley Cup Game 1 was headed into overtime. It was looking like the game would head into a second overtime, as neither team could score or close out the game for 19 and a half of the 20 minutes of overtime, until Connor McDavid yet again assisted Leon Draisaitl with a beautiful pass. Draisaitl put the puck in the back of the net, winning Game 1 for the Oilers 4-3. Both of these teams have generational players, goalies, coaches, and storied franchises, so this series should be incredible for the second year in a row. Let's see if the Oilers can follow in the 2009 Penguins' footsteps and bounce back with a title win. Game 2 of this series will be in Edmonton tonight at 5, with Game 3 heading to Florida on Monday, also at 5 p.m. Basically, every day we will have either playoff basketball or playoff hockey, so enjoy all of it for the next week. In less happy news, I had to update you on the sad state of affairs that is the Colorado Rockies. A few weeks ago, I mentioned that the Rockies had the worst 50-game start to an MLB season in history. Since then, until this week, things had gotten only worse. Every team in the National League finished April with double-digit wins, except for the Colorado Rockies. Somehow, that stat was still true at the end of May. After 2 months and 58 games played, the Rockies finished last Saturday guaranteed to enter June with just 9 wins. Their record sat at 9-49, keeping them beyond nearly any precedent for the worst start in MLB history. The Rockies finally got their 10th win this past Monday with a 6-4 win over the Miami Marlins, followed by their 11th and 12th wins after sweeping the Marlins for their first series sweep since May of 2024. I'm going to rattle off some shocking stats about the Rockies this season, so brace yourselves. Until sweeping the Marlins in 3 games this week and earning a series win, they had lost 22 consecutive series dating back to last season and have been swept a total of 8 times this year. Before this week, they had won consecutive games just once this season with 3 different 8-game losing streaks. They're on pace for a minus .511 run differential, which would be the worst mark in MLB history by more than 100 runs. They're 18 and a half games back from 4th place in the NL West and 25 games back from 1st place. Their starting pitchers have a 6.7 ERA, and for reference, all 9 Dodgers pitchers with multiple starts this season have a better ERA. And lastly, by losing 50 of their first 59 games, the Rockies solidified the worst start in MLB history since the first pitch was thrown in 1871 when Ulysses S. Grant was president. Apologies to any Rockies fans, and it brings me no joy to talk about this, but I'll continue to update as the situation progresses because it's just too astonishing not to mention. Lastly, sticking with baseball, the college baseball and softball World Series have been absolutely electric so far. After shocking upsets this past weekend, the top 2 seeds in Vanderbilt and Texas are out of the Men's College World Series, leaving 6th-seeded LSU as the new favorite, just ahead of their SEC rivals Arkansas and defending champion Tennessee. Today begins the Super Regional round. In the Super Regional, 2 teams play a 3-game series with the winner advancing to the College Baseball World Series. So, here's a look at the schedule over the next 3 days. If this weekend is anything like the last few games, these should be incredible games, so don't miss out on any of the action. For the Softball World Series, it's an all-Texas championship after Texas Tech and Texas each won on Monday. Texas is playing for the national championship for the 2nd consecutive year and 2nd time in the past 3 years. Texas Tech are in their first Women's College World Series final after earning an NCAA tournament berth following a 6-year absence. As a side note, Oklahoma failed to reach the Women's College World Series final for the first time in the past 5 tournaments. Anyway, Game 1 between Texas and Texas Tech was on Wednesday, and it was full of dramatics. With Texas down 1-0, Reese Atwood stepped up to the plate with 2 outs and 2 runners on base. Being a known slugger, Texas Tech attempted to intentionally walk Atwood to load their bases and make it easier for their defense. But On the would-be ball 4, Atwood swung anyway, driving a hard grounder into left field, and both runners would score, giving Texas a 2-1 win in Game 1. Texas Tech bounced back with a win in Game 2 last night, and since it's only a best-of-3 series, the championship deciding Game 3 will be tonight at 5, with both teams competing for their program's first ever national title. With all of that said, enjoy all of the hockey, basketball, baseball, softball, and so much more that this weekend has to offer. Come right back next Friday for more news, updates, and highlights from all across the sports world. As always, thanks for tuning in. I'm Cole Young, and I'll see you next time.
Hello, I'm Matt Johnson, and I can't wait to bring the new Jet Set and Swing in the Disney Songbook to your beautiful theater. It's an engaging, retro-cool jazz tribute to the beloved songs from Disney's most memorable animated feature films. This virtuosic musical presentation is enhanced by multimedia images and vintage film clips from Disney's original animated classics, including Snow White, Cinderella, Dumbo, Peter Pan, Pinocchio, and The Jungle Book, as well as some contemporary instant classics, including Toy Story, The Little Mermaid, The Lion King, Coco, and so many more, all delivered with a retro-modern jazz flair like you've never heard before. Fun for the whole family. You'll laugh, you'll cry, and you'll definitely be tapping your toes when the new Jet Set presents Swing in the Disney Songbook.
All right, let's talk movies, and we got some good ones for you this Friday and Saturday. Today, we're going to be showing Where the Crawdads Sing. It stars Harrison Dickinson. It's brought to us by City of Hope. Going to be at 2 p.m. with the subtitles and 6 p.m. without the subtitles. A woman who's raised herself in the marshes of the Deep South becomes a suspect in the murder of a man with whom she once had been involved. It's based on a book. It is a good one. You're going to want to see that one. Then on Saturday, a classic one for you, In the Line of Fire from back in 1993. Clint Eastwood stars in this one. It's going to be at 2 p.m. with the subtitles and 6 p.m. without the subtitles, and is brought to us also by Hogue. Secret Service agent Frank Horrigan couldn't save Kennedy, but he's determined not to let a clever assassin take out the president that he's currently protecting. There you go. There's our Friday and Saturday movies. Hope you enjoy those. Let's take a quick check of our weather, and we got some nice temperatures for this coming weekend. We're going to have 74 is going to be our high today. The clouds will clear up by this afternoon, hopefully to partly cloudy. Then we're just going to have some AM clouds, and then really 76 degrees. Then mostly sunny on Sunday, mostly sunny on Monday, and Tuesday as well. Nice temperatures up in the upper 70s. I love that kind of temperature around here this time of year. Always nice. All right, tomorrow on our program, we're going to be joining the new Jet Set band is going to be here. We're going to be talking about their twist to jazz on a lot of classic Disney songs that you're going to enjoy. And then also Cirque du Soleil, amazing performance. Bree has this interview, one of the performers from the new Cirque du Soleil show going on right there in the old Laguna Hills Mall parking lot. So look forward to that as well. That's going to do it for this edition of This Day. I'm Michael Taylor. For all of us here at Village Television, we hope you make this day a great one.